Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
It was the best of times for the Tribe and the worst of times for the O's. It was a tale of 10 pitches in the fifth that turned a scoreless game into a 3-run lead for the Indians. And it was 10 pitches from Andrew Miller that kept Baltimore off the board in the seventh after the bases were loaded with nobody out. In a script only Charles Dickens could write, the Indians can make it 7 out of 8 and head home with lots of momentum. Next on Sports Time Ohio. Camden Yards in Baltimore, Maryland, located off the Inner Harbor. And the Indians try to make it 3 out of 4 against the Birds and head home atop the American League Central Division standings. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. The Tribe has played so well on this road trip. They swept the Twins in a 4-game series. They've already won 2 of 3. And for the most part, Francisco Lindor was pretty quiet. But he's starting to heat up. And that's just what opposing pitchers want to see. Another guy getting hot in this red-hot Indians lineup.
Well, Frankie's had a quiet June, but he's trying to hit his way out of that little slump that he's been in. A little over 200 on the month of June, but he has 4 hits, the home run, the double, 5 ribbies. He's starting to pick up the pace. And as Tito says, man, it's nice to come from all different directions. Not everybody can do it and do it all the time, and Lindor is starting to get hot.
And now for Jose Ramirez and his incredible story. A 9-game multi-hit streak. And he's chasing shoeless Joe Jackson, so obviously he's put himself in some very elite company.
And it's been really fun to watch because this guy, it just doesn't matter what side of the plate he's going out. He's finding gaps, he's hitting doubles. He has 10 doubles, a triple, some home runs mixed in there, 3 homers, 7 ribbies. And, you know, the last player in Major League Baseball with a 10-game streak like multi-hit games, Bernie Williams, and you got to go back to 2002. So he has a chance to do something very, very special. And in his own organization, shoeless Joe Jackson.
Oh, can't wait for this one to get underway. Indians O's. Mike Clevenger gets the start for the Tribe. Back with the play-by-play coming up next. Francisco Lindor, home run number 14.
Nice
Perfect
pitch.
pitch. Got him again. Cookie made quick work of the Birds. Threw it by him. There's the 95 Express. This one's in the books. The Indians win again. They've taken 2 of 3 from Baltimore. And now a chance to make it 3 out of 4 as they end the road trip here tonight from Oriole Park at Camden Yards in Baltimore on another warm summer evening. They say that life imitates art. And right now, the Indians are having a lot of fun with their artistic creativities. Here's Andre Knott with more on that.
That's a great way to put it, Matt. You know, we talk so much about building team camaraderie and how a team becomes a team. And tonight we talk a little bit with Trevor Bauer, who will start tomorrow night, about all those baseballs, all those mini-me's we've seen recently, and how that's helping build team camaraderie in tonight's Hear Right Sounds of the Game.
Well, the bullpen guys have their time down with the pen together, and one thing we talked about earlier in the year as starters is that, you know, we don't really spend a whole lot of time together, or as much as the bullpen does, or, you know, we don't talk as much or whatever, and so we're trying to get along down that path and grow that relationship and that bond as a starting staff and as a pitching staff as a whole.
And last night was a perfect example of how the team camaraderie has been built. We all know a little of Jose, but no one knew of the mini Cookie Carrasco. And when Cookie Carrasco saw that there was a mini Cookie last night, his eyes blew up. Now, I'll tell you guys tonight, there are a couple more that are on the way. If it's up to Cookie Carrasco, we may see a whole roster of these, as they've already have some plants in each and every locker, and they don't let other guys see when they're coming of who they are. I got a good idea, though. We may see a parrot soon, is all I'll tell you guys.
All right, nice teaser. We are ready to go now as Wade Miley is on the hill for Baltimore tonight. The left-hander 3-4 on the year with a 4.29 ERA. His first pitch in there for a strike to Francisco Lindor. Ground ball foul. Frankie has gone 4 for 15 in the series with a double, a homer, 4 runs batted in. Game time temperature tonight is 87 degrees under overcast skies. Missed in off the plate.
That's a pitch he's going to try and tease you with right there. He likes that changeup away. He's basically a sinker ball guy with a curveball and a changeup.
Hung a breaking ball, and Lindor bangs it through the hole for a leadoff single. The rest of the lineup: Jason Kipnis, then Jose Ramirez riding that 9-game multi-hit streak. Edwin Encarnacion in the cleanup spot. Carlos Santana. Then it's Austin Jackson, Yan Gomes, and Eric Gonzalez batting in front of Daniel Robertson.
Wade Miley is the Northern Ohio Hyundai starting pitcher. He's 30 years old, 6'2", 195 pounds. He is 3-4 on the year. 40 walks. You got to be patient, make him get in the strike zone.
Jason Kipnis has gone 4 for 12 in the series with a home run. And his home run was rather memorable in the series opener. He hit one beyond the fence in right field and then out past the gates out on the Utah Street. Became the 50th visiting player in this park's history to do that. And the irony was that his home run ball landed right next to where Asdrubal Cabrera's home run ball landed out on Utah Street some 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was about a foot away, wasn't it?
Yeah. Lindor held at first by Trey Mancini. Big hole on the right side for Kipnis. Trying to pull it through there, but instead Schoop has it. They'll get the force on Lindor. Schoop had trouble handling it, so they'll have to settle for just the 1 out.
Check out that Baltimore defense for you, brought to you by WB Mason. In the outfield, it's going to be Kim is in left, Gentry is in center, Smith over in right. Machado at third, Tejada at short, Schoop is at second, Mancini at first with Castillo doing the catching.
Adam Hamari behind the plate tonight. The crew chief Bill Miller is down at first. Danley Blackney, or Blakeney rather, on the bases. Here is Jose Ramirez now. He's gone 7 for 15 in this series with 2 doubles and a triple. And during his 9-game multi-hit streak, 23 for 42. And then if you want to stretch it back, and this is how really hot. This isn't just a recent thing for him. His last 25 games, he's batted .412.
That is being on a roll. He had 388 in the month of June.
Down in the dirt, 2-1.
You know, we're used to seeing him hit well at home, where he's one of the top hitters in his home park at 353, but now he has that road average up to 297. And I mean, he's been as hot as he's been. That's come a long way.
In the air, right field, playable for Seth Smith. And that is out number 2. And up comes Edwin Encarnacion. If he wasn't teammates with Jose Ramirez, we'd probably be talking about what a red-hot month of June he's had. And he has. It's just that next to Ramirez, anybody's numbers look paltry by comparison. But Edwin's batted .339 in the month of June, and in the 16 games he has driven in 17 runs. He has scored 20.
Yeah, he's been finding the way to get on base, scoring the runs. He's driving them in. He is. They said you have to wait to the warm weather. He heats up. He's notoriously a slow starter, and it's holding true again this month. There you'll see the month of June.
Took the sting out of his bat and a pop to center, where Craig Gentry makes the catch. No runs ahead, a man left. The Orioles are coming to bat. By Hankook Tires. Seth Smith going to lead it off. Once again, only 2 left-handed bats in the lineup, Smith and Kim. Everybody else batting from the right side. You'll note Adam Jones not in there tonight. In his place, Craig Gentry, who's batting ninth. Manny Machado, Jonathan Scope, Mark Trumbo, Welling, and Trey Mancini. Those are really the core hitters for Baltimore here tonight.
Mike Clevenger is going to be the Northern Ohio starting pitcher, and he'll be making his 8th start. Record of 2-3, 389 earned run average for Clevenger. He's pitched well on the road. He's 2-1 with a 2.61 ERA. Has handled right-handed hitters very well so far this year. 167 batting average. Allowed 12 hits and 72 at bats. As you mentioned, they're predominantly right-handed, so Clev, you look to have a good night.
Carlos Carrasco last night pitched the Indians to a victory, his 8th of the year.
Yes, his 6th win on the road. He came out and tried to match Kluber pitch for pitch, but ended up giving it up 3 hits in the 7th, and then Miller had to come on and get him out of it, but did not allow a run. 10 strikeouts, first time he's been in double digits this year.
Outside to Seth Smith. 3 hits in the series, and 2 of them were line drives in which he stayed back and shot it the other way, because the Indians have that 3-man shift on the right side.
And both times in his 3rd at bat, coming in the 6th inning.
Goes the other way this time. Big fly. Baltimore 1, Cleveland nothing. Eighth home run of the year for Smith.
Yeah, he's not waiting till the 6th inning tonight. He put a really nice swing on that baseball and hit it out of here to left center, and that one had a little carry. That was into the Indians bullpen, which is the upper bullpen in left center field, and it looked like Clevenger knew it as soon as he threw that pitch, and Smith put the swing on it. So Smith will give Baltimore a 1-0 lead.
Manny Machado, 4 out of 11 in the series, couple of home runs the other night, and the Orioles win. Pop back out of play. Manny Machado has company that the Orioles are. They became only the 2nd team in the majors this year to have 6 players with double figures in home runs.
Yeah, the only one that has not been able to play in this series was Davis, who's on the disabled list with an oblique strain.
Strike called. Full count. Yankees the first team to do it. No surprise there, the way they've been bombing away.
Take a look at this 3-1 pitch on our Nissan pitch tracker. Machado thought it was a little low, but home plate umpire Adam Hamari called it a strike. So full count now.
Payoff pitch. And Machado spoiled a good 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Down low, he walked him. So not a good start here for Clevenger. Gives up the home run, walks Machado, and now Jonathan Schoop coming up.
Let's set the Indians defense, brought to you by Ram. Gonzalez gets the start in left field tonight. Jackson at center, Robertson over in right. Ramirez is at 3rd, Lindor at short, Kipnis at 2nd, Santana at 1st with Gomes catching.
With Adam Jones out of the lineup, Jonathan Schoop moves up to his normal spot in the batting order. Schoop batted 6th in the first 3 games. This guy certainly has very good offensive abilities. And here in the early going, Mike Clevenger just trying to find some kind of rhythm behind Scope 2-0.
Yeah, well, the one thing is how Kluber and Carrasco attacked the Baltimore hitters. They were ahead of a lot of them. They were not pitching from behind. They were expanding the zones. If there's anything he took away from that, that would be the #1 thing. Pitch ahead in the count, and then you can go to work.
Now the 2-0. Popped up foul. Is it playable? Santana gives it a look. Can't get there. It's on top of the Baltimore dugout. Buck Showalter not with the team tonight. He's away attending the birth of his first grandchild. So John Russell, the bench coach, is the skipper, and the man to Russell's right is Brian Graham, who years ago was a minor league manager in the Indian system. BG, I think he left Cleveland and came directly to Baltimore when Mike Hargrove became the manager for the O's.
All right.
So he's been in their organization for many years now. Clevenger ready with the 2-1. Quick fire to first. Close play. And Machado, he didn't have a big gaudy lead, but that's such a quick move by Clevenger. Almost caught him napping.
Well, and Santana says, look, take a look at that, because he may have been out. So they're waiting to hear from Barney down in the clubhouse.
It was a lot closer than the initial look.
Well, they're still waiting, and
he says challenge it. Mike Barnett thinks they got him. Machado wasn't that far off the bag, but I don't think he realized how quick the throw was coming over there.
Exactly. He was only about 5-6 feet off the bag, and he didn't really beat it to get back to first base. And it looked like Santana tagged him up on the shoulder before that hand hit the base, and that's what was taking a little so long for Mike Barnett in there looking at it on the video, but he obviously saw something.
So the Indians challenge here right out of the gate in the first inning.
And you know, you're not going to challenge that if you don't think you're going to get it overturned.
I think they did get him too. It's just a matter of finding a conclusive angle. But Mike Barnett doesn't just throw caution to the winds. He's normally very certain, especially early in the game, if he's going to give the thumbs up to Brad Mills.
Yeah, for a play like this, I would think so. There's something that he saw. Well, they're 8 of 13 on challenges overturned, are the Indians.
Here's another look for us. And that's not going to be conclusive because his hand disappears behind Santana's knee. You
But
lose
if
the
he
graphic
tagged him
there,
up there,
maybe.
I think they might have had him.
Wayne Kirby in the way there. There's got to be a good look. Let's see. No, guess not.
All right, call stands.
All right, let's get back to work. 2-1 the count. Low fastball right at the knees, and it's 2-2.
He won't be nonchalant going back anymore after that first time.
Down in the dirt. Nice save by Gomes. And a full count. A home run to Seth Smith, a walk to Machado. Now he's worked a full count. Machado takes off. Ripped to left, a base hit. Stopping at second base is Machado. And the first 3 Orioles have all reached safely to start the game.
Well, 3-2, and Scope's sitting on a good fastball, and he gets it, hits it hard. Fastball away, 94, it was up. They did start the runner, so they have first and second now with a run in, and they've got something rolling. Here in the first, Clevenger looking for that first out.
Well, he's, as you pointed out, he's been behind. He needs to try to use that fastball maybe to get ahead. Although now you're dealing with Mark Trumbo, who's trying to get on track in this series. The Indians have done a good job to this point. There's a good fastball. He's just 2 for 11 and has punched out 5 times. Both of his singles just kind of off the end of the bat.
Yeah, he had to work hard for him, though. You know, they pitched him tough in the series, so he's to scrape out those 2 hits. He's done a good job.
The 0-1. Wow, pretty good pitch. You know, I get it when you're the designated hitter. All your focus should be on your hitting. You don't have anything else really to worry about. But I was watching Trumbo during batting practice. I could see him literally talking to himself while he was in the cage. So he's either doing some extra work, trying to get his timing back. 1-1 pitch, swung on and missed. You know, it's like when you're on the practice range, when you're swinging a golf club, you're telling yourself, stay back, do this, you know, don't lift your head. I could see him going through some of those
constant struggles.
Yeah.
You know, you have to remind yourself, you know, the little things, your little checkpoints that you do throughout your course of a day or going through batting practice or whatever.
This is big for Clevenger here. And the 1-2. Got him. Strikes him out, 1 away.
Well, that's the difference. He was ahead in the count there to a hitter, and he ends up getting the strikeout. When you look at the sequence, started them off with a good fastball in, stayed inside, and then threw a couple of breaking balls, and ends up with the one down and away, and he gets Trumbo to chase it, and finally gets his first out.
Trey Mancini. Starting to heat up. He had 3 hits last night. But he swings to a breaking ball away. Really slowed that curveball down. In on his hands, Santana will go to second to get the force there. And there are 2 down. Jonathan Scope is erased. Manny Machado goes to third. Mancini at first on the fielder's choice. Storylines tonight courtesy of Wayside Furniture. Jose Ramirez is chasing shoeless Joe Jackson with his 9 consecutive multi-hit games. 1 more would equal shoeless Joe's mark of 10 consecutive. And then he also has the all-time franchise record shoeless Joe does with 11 consecutive multi-hit games. They came in, I think they came in consecutive years. (1911) and 1912. When shoeless Joe had his incredible streaks. Game's the same in many ways, but obviously it's changed quite a bit.
Well, yeah, over the last 100 years, I would think so.
One way the game has changed is the balls leaving the park. On Wednesday night, so last night, there were a total of 290 strikeouts logged over 15 major league games. According to the Orioles press notes, an average of 19.3 strikeouts per game. And that was the highest on any day with at least 12 games played in major league history. So
average of 19 a game.
Strikeouts are through the roof. And one of the reasons people feel like home runs are up this year, in addition to perhaps maybe the ball's juiced up a little bit, is the fact that guys are swinging for the fences. So
yes,
strikeouts are up, but home runs are up as well. One pitch. Again, according to the Orioles press notes, 72 major league games from Friday to Tuesday. 238 home runs hit in that span. Average of 3.3 a game. Highest home run average in a 5-day period in the 142-year history of Major League Baseball. So we're seeing some unprecedented homers and whiffs. He went too far. 2-2. That's the crew chief, Bill Miller, raising the right hand on Wellington Castillo's check swing.
Well, take a look from the side and see what you think. Yeah, he got out there.
Just missed away with a fastball on a full count.
Well, Clevenger already 27 pitches, and he's trying to get out of that first inning. Again, we've talked about him always going deep into counts. He has to be more aggressive.
The 3-2. Runner goes at first. Got him looking, ending the inning. Couple of Ks for Clevenger, and I'll tell you what, he made a lot of pitches, but all things considered, a terrific job to keep this to just 1 run in the first.
#1 live streaming sports service is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market game live, at home, in the office, or on the go for just $19.99. Visit MLB TV for the details.
Carlos Santana to lead off the second for Cleveland. On the road trip, Santana has batted .333. In addition to that, he's drawn 8 walks and has scored a half-dozen runs. Miley with a first pitch strike over the outside edge. And he hits it to the hole with the shift on. If you've got a straight up defense, that's probably a routine ground ball.
Yeah, which is a rarity though for Santana. So he'll get a hit going the other way. Second straight inning, the Indians have had their leadoff man aboard.
If you look where Jonathan Scope sets up this time, that's exactly where Santana hit that ball. But hey, that's why teams use the shift though, because you're playing the percentages based on all those spray charts, and where he hits the ball normally is not where Jonathan Scope is standing.
Normally he'll try and pull that ball and roll over on it.
I got a question for you in regards to that. It's a hypothetical, but how often do you suppose, let's take Santana for example, he would have to do that swing before teams said, okay, let's not shift now, let's keep the guy over there?
I think they'd stay on it, because the way we watch him every day and he pulls more, they're doing the right thing. They do it whether he hits left-handed, they do it whether he hits right-handed. You know, they always bring that one guy over.
I'm saying if he did that over the course of a whole year,
well, no. If you do it against one team a few times, I think in a series they may change.
Oh yeah, that fast?
I think so. If he shows that he's trying to go that way, yes. But you know, the game it changes. If you get runners on base, then I got to try and pull it.
And again, I think that you are who you are, and
right. And leading off an inning or something like that, if he did it twice with nobody on base or something, they may stay over there for a little bit.
Right now, Austin Jackson, who's batted .315 this year against lefties, but down on the count 1-2, takes the ball to even it up. Jackson has had a good road trip, and he's been asked to play a lot more than he has so far to this point with Michael Brantley's absence, and the Indians seeing a bevy of left-handed pitching. There's Brantley, who I think he'll be
Monday,
probably ready to go Monday, I would think.
I think you're right.
Retroactive disabled list move. We'll have to sit this weekend. There's a liner toward right center field. That's in the gap. That'll go to the wall. Santana coming around third. He's going to score. Jackson's going to go for 3. And he goes in sliding safely with an RBI triple to tie the game at 1. It's his first triple of the year, and you don't think of this being a big triples park, but that got a favorable kick at the wall for Austin, and he just kept motoring right around the bases.
That's the 10th triple for the Indians, and that's his patented swing. He got a fastball middle of the plate, but stayed on it. Now watch where that ball kicks off the wall. The center fielder has to go get it. It hit an angle, and that enabled the triple right there. Santana was going to score easily, and Jackson gets to third easily, so he ties the game up and set this inning up. He had a good night on game 1. He had 3 ribbies, 2 doubles.
Redbird says that's the 6th triple hit here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Only Progressive Field has yielded fewer.
That's amazing. Well, it was that one little kick where it hit that rental sign out there, and it kicked to the left.
Out of play. That almost picked off some of our camera folks over there.
Heads up over there, boys.
They're sitting there in the bird's nest. Nice.
There he's got it. Yeah, he picked it up. That was Bob Uecker. Pick it up when you're done, when it's done rolling.
Yes, it was.
Well, this is a good way to get your first at bat, man on third and nobody out.
Like you say, this is in many ways a free at bat.
Yeah, it's a free at bat. I look at it that way. You get a ground ball either at short or at second, hit the ball in the air, you get an RBI.
And Gomes goes the other way, trying to dump one into right field. He will. It's an RBI single, and the Indians take a 2-1 lead on Jan's 19th run batted in on the year. And how about this number, Arch? 14 of Gomes' 19 runs batted in have come on the road this year.
Yeah, he's been he hits much better on the road. It's a breaking ball. It jams him. He fights it off, but that's all you really had to do. Smith couldn't do anything. It bounces in front of him. He gets the run home. The Indians take the lead, and they answer. And that solo home run by Smith.
And up comes Eric Gonzalez, getting a chance to start for the first time on the road trip. He does have a couple of at-bats in the series, coming in later as a defensive replacement.
You know, this is the only way that Tito's going to be able to get him at bats. You got to start him in the outfield sometimes, even though he's not an outfielder. You're not going to play any infield with Lindor and Kipnis and the way Ramirez is playing now. So the only way you can get him some time is put him in left field.
Well, and he may see an opportunity coming up here because the Indians are in the midst of this stretch. What would we say, 21
July
games
3rd
in 20 days?
Yeah, 22 and 20 it was, I believe.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah.
Matt, you're exactly right. I talked to Tito tonight about Eric Gonzalez. He loves him as a defensive player. He loves him as a young player. He's told me I got to find ways to get him in the lineup. He thinks he can play left field. He started doing that down in Columbus earlier this year, and they think that if they continue doing this with him, they know he can play defensively. He thinks defensively, Tito thinks he can play in the majors right now at second or shortstop. But they don't think it'll be a problem for him to play left field. I think the problem the Indians have right now, they don't know what kind of player Eric Gonzalez is going to be because he hasn't been able to play a lot. They think that he can become a pretty good player. Yeah. They just don't have anywhere to play him right now at this point in time.
Well, yeah, for his position, you're on the wrong team. He's a shortstop, right. and you got Lindor there, so he will not get playing time there. Maybe a game or two, but
right. Here's your update on Brantley. I know you guys showed a picture of him. You were talking about him. He did take BP today in the cage. When we get home tomorrow, he will run the bases. He'll run. And Tito said if everything goes right, he'll be in the lineup Monday, Tuesday.
Okay.
He won't have to go anywhere. They think he'll be fine, and his timing should be good. But he'll start running tomorrow at Progressive Field.
Thank you, Andre. Meanwhile, good at bat for Gonzalez. He's worked the count of 4. And Rick, there's the other thing for a young kid. When he has had his opportunities, the last 5 games that he has started, he's gone 9 for 19 with a double homer and 6 runs scored. So he's been pretty productive given the sporadic opportunities he's had. Payoff pitch. Oh, he got him down and in. He went back to that pitch that gave him fits earlier in the at-bat. He gets his first strikeout, does Wade Meyer.
Yeah, the patience you have to remain, and when you're young, this is the thing. He helped him out there and swung at a ball, but he worked a count full, and then he just chased one that was out of the zone, and that's what you have to learn when you're a younger player. Those pitchers, they're not going to give in to you. Look at, he's not happy with himself, and I know he fouled that ball off his foot. It might be a little sore.
Cleveland in front 2-1. Now Daniel Robertson. Minnesota was not kind to Robertson. He had a rough series there at the plate. So this is his first action in this 4-gamer against Baltimore. Ball to second. There's one on the first. Double play ends the inning. But the Indians come out swinging here in the second. Single, triple, single. And just like that, the Indians take a 2-1 lead.
for KeyBank Kids Fun Day. After the game, stick around for Kids Can Run the Bases, presented by Cleveland Clinic's Children's. Just go to Indians.com for your tickets.
Hyun-Soo Kim going to lead off for Baltimore here in the bottom half of the second inning. Bottom third of the order due up. And Mike Clevenger, who had to really work hard to get through that first inning, piled up the pitches. But now the Indians offense came right back, put a couple on the board, and now he has the lead. And he misses low, ball one. And if you're going to miss, that's a good spot to miss. I think the problem so far for Clevenger is he's just not been able to get ahead consistently. And that's why the pitch count really ran up on him in that first inning. But hey, he came back. He got 2 big strikeouts to get out of the inning. 2-1. He was really late on that good fastball. And it's 2-2. I guess, Rick, because Clevenger's a young pitcher, you wonder, is this a game where, okay, he had trouble in that first inning trying to find it, but getting through it now he'll be okay? Or is this one of those, just one of those nights for him? We'll have to wait to find out the answers.
You know, when he pitched in his last start, it was the rain that sort of shortened his night. He was off to a good start in Minnesota.
You know what, too, and we can get Andre's input on this, but it hasn't exactly been ideal conditions for him since then. And a line drive base hit the other way. Cut off by Gonzalez, and a good throw in to hold Kim to a leadoff single. Remember, because he was the extra man for the doubleheader, and then he had to go back and he bounced around. It's not like he's been with the team.
No.
He's lost quite a few airline miles, right, Andre?
Not even that. Before that, think his last start, he knew that he had to go to Columbus and he was coming back for the doubleheader. But when he left, the team left Minnesota, he flew back to Columbus. He then drove to Cleveland and dropped all of his stuff out from his apartment. Then he flew to Louisville. Then he had to do his side work in Louisville. Then he flew here. He told me this is just a part of the gig. He goes, I hope I pitch it good enough that I don't have to ever do it again. He said he doesn't even know where half of his stuff is at. His toothbrush may be in Columbus, he told me.
Fastball in there for a strike. And again, we're not using that as an excuse, but I'm just saying it hasn't. Pitchers are so routine oriented. It's been anything but routine for Club in the last several days.
It hasn't, but he appreciates being here. And he told me, he goes, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll fly wherever they want, as long as I can pitch on every 5 days with an Indians cap on.
Yeah, I guess that nicked him. He's going to have a tough time sticking around the way this one's going, though. 2 on, nobody out.
Yeah, command issues. He's throwing it all over the place. And this one was inside. Didn't look like it. Did it get a piece of the...
I didn't see it hit anything.
I didn't either.
They're out of challenges. The only thing they could do would be to ask the umpire to maybe take a look at it. But 2 on, nobody out. Craig Gentry is the batter. Santana looking for a bunt. He's squeezing in at first. Gentry showed it, but pulled it back.
Baltimore with 9 sacrifices on the year.
He tried to bunt, he got drilled.
He is all over the place.
And so now the bases are loaded on back-to-back hit batters.
That's exactly why you don't sometimes want to square around.
Did that get him right in the chest?
Pitcher. I'm not sure. I know he couldn't get out of the way of it, though.
Sounded like a loud thud. Might have knocked the wind out of him.
he's squaring around that time, and it did. It got him right in the stomach, right on the number. On the number 4. It's right in the ribs. Oh, and he just couldn't get out.
Listen. Ooh. You can feel the wind leave him.
That's going to be a painful walk to first. He's in there because he's giving Adam Jones a rest, and Jones is saying, oh, come on, man, get up. You're okay. Get up. He wants an off day. Well, the bases are loaded now with nobody out after the single and the 2 hit batters. So Clevenger back in trouble again.
Bases juiced, nobody out. Seth Smith, opposite field homer, his first time up, steps in.
Well, in his first at bat, Seth Smith took that ball to left center field into the Indians bullpen. He hit that ball a long way going opposite field.
And it's 0-2. Pretty good numbers for Smith with the bases loaded.
Yeah, you go into a mode now if you're Clevenger to try and you go into damage control. Minimize it.
Upstairs, 1-2. Last night, bases loaded, obviously later in the game, so maybe a different situation in terms of maybe the kind of pressure that a hitter or a pitcher feels. But Andrew Miller came in. Bases loaded, nobody out, and on 10 pitches, he was out of the inning without allowing a run to score. And he said afterwards, look, I feel like the hitter is pressing because he wants to get that run home so bad, so I try to use that against him. He said, I told the guys when they came in to the mound from the infield, hey, let's get a ground ball. Boom, he gets a ground ball, in and out, and then, you know, he did the rest. But I wonder if it's later in the game, is it different for the hitter than it is, say, in this situation? Maybe he's not feeling quite as
tight. Yeah, the pressure's not there. It's still early, but you know they still get aggressive and they'll get themselves out at times. Smith didn't bite at that last breaking ball though.
Big pitch for Clevenger here. There's the 2-2, and a ground ball right back to him. He comes home. They get the out there to first. Double play. Yeah. Sensational. So 2 down, runners at second and third after the tapper back to the mound.
1-2-3 double play, and that's exactly what he needed. Don't rush. Make sure you get the first one. But then Gomes is able to come down and fire the seed right before he gets to first base. And they turned that double play. There's the first one, and he gave him a good feed. And there's the second one.
That was close
down
there.
He was on his way down. Smith was, that foot on the base, and they're thinking of taking a look at it.
Orioles say no thank you.
Never mind. So he has a chance to get out of this inning. That's what you needed. And the good thing is that it wasn't hit hard enough, but it was right at Clevenger. If it's to his left or right, then you just get an out in that situation.
Not out of the woods yet, though. Manny Machado walked his only time up in the first. Down low, ball 1. Again, he misses just low. 2-0. Back-to-back breaking balls. So now you figure Machado, he's seen 2 curveballs down low out of the strike zone. He's probably sitting fastball here. You normally would think this is a fastball count, but first base is open. And he gives him the fastball, but it's off the plate, and Machado looking probably middle in only. Well, yeah, discipline the layoff.
Yes, you get to, when you get the count in your favor, you really shrink the strike zone on the pitcher. You're not going to swing at anything unless you can drive it. And if he hits on that outside pitch, you just take it. So use your head here. Don't give in.
I'm surprised they didn't just intentionally put him on now.
Well,
oh, he took a mighty rip and ripped it right back off the mask of Gomes.
he was waiting for it. He was waiting for the fastball. But you know, you look at it, he was looking for it. It was away. This one was a strike. But he wasn't going to let that one pass. He knew what he was getting. He let it go.
Just missed. And it's ball 4. Well, the bases are reloaded the second time this inning.
Well, he's going to go inside and a little down. It looked like it was not a bad pitch, but 3-1, he's not swinging at it. So back now, no room for error.
Jonathan Scope will be the batter, and he hit a bullet in the left field his first time up.
Gomes is going to talk to him now. If you're going to come up, and he hit a fastball, 3-2 fastball his first time up. If you throw him a fastball, you better make it a quality pitch. And if you don't, you go breaking ball. You just better throw strike 1, and don't start falling behind. You're getting into the middle part of the lineup here, and it's only the second inning. Play second time.
He's almost at 50 pitches. Tried clinging to an early 2-1 lead. Baltimore loading the bases in this inning. A couple of hit batters, a walk. They did mix in a hit. That was to lead off the inning. Scope able to lay off ball 1.
I had a feeling he was going to throw that slider, but you have to throw it for strike 1. Guys are going to sit for that fastball. And if you throw the slider, you have to throw it for a strike. That's what young pitchers have to learn. You can't start falling behind, because then when you go and fall behind, their strike zone shrinks and they look for 1 pitch, and that's number 1.
2-0.
No command out there whatsoever. Dead even, 25-25.
Tops it foul.
Yeah, and then it's a tough way to pitch when you have to make quality pitches every time when you're behind in the count to good hitters. Because sooner or later, if you don't hit that spot you're looking for, they're going to get you. He still has the chance to get out of this inning without giving anything up. And that would be like a Houdini act.
Whew. 3-1. Bases loaded, 2 down. The 3-1 pitch to Jonathan Scope. Wow. Almost took off the helmet of the runner at third base, Ruben Tejada. He got down in a hurry.
Well, look at, you think he's not sitting fastball, 3-1. He'll be locked into it again. He had the 3-2 fastball last time, and he got the base hit.
Clevenger looks like he's already gone 10 rounds with the champ. He is really working hard here at the outset. This is going to be his 54th pitch of the night.
Well, you got to have guts if you're Gomes to call that breaking ball, because he's had a tough time throwing it. But if you throw it, you got to throw it for a strike.
You could probably screw him into the ground if he throws it for a strike. Runners go on a 3-2 pitch, and he walked him to tie the game. So he's walked 2 and he's hit 2 in the inning.
Well, that'll get the bullpen up.
Looks like Adam Plutko. No. Zach McAllister grabs his glove. He's going to get loose. Mickey Callaway going to go out. A very visibly frustrated Mike Clevenger.
Yeah, he let it get to me. He made a good pitch to get the double play ball and a chance to get out of the inning. And then back-to-back walks. They have one single in the inning, and that was the leadoff single by Kemp. And then he hit back-to-back batters. He made the pitch to get the double play, and then back-to-back walks. They have their second run. Callaway going to take his time.
Mark Trumbo. Takes a look. It's low, ball 1. Well, the way this is going for Clevenger, he's still only 1 pitch away from getting out of the mess. And I think that's the key, is as long as he doesn't just give in here or make a really bad pitch, the Indians still have an opportunity in this game. But boy, it could get away from you in a hurry. And now it's 1-1.
This is up. This is a pitch you don't want to make. Look at that. That's not where you want the slider either. But he got away with it. He got the swing and the miss. Back into the count.
Two balls and a strike.
He really has no feel for the slider. I'm trying to think if I've seen a changeup yet, but it's hard to tell because, you know, he's all over the place. You can't see exactly what he's throwing.
Well,
you know, and it's a feel pitch for him, and I understand that. So is the slider, and he has no feel for his off-speed pitches tonight.
out of play.
And it's not a good thing because when you're not locating your fastball, you're out there on an island alone, pal.
Well, the other thing you wonder about too is just fatigue, maybe mental fatigue more than physical. But I mean, he's been out there for a long time. Almost 30 pitches in the first inning, and now he's closing in on 30 pitches here again in the second inning. He needs to make one more big pitch. Left field, playable. Gonzalez makes the catch, and the inning is over. Whoa, what a roller coaster ride here in the early going. 2-2 after 2. As we go to the third, you'd like to hit the restart button, wouldn't you?
Well, yes, I think so, because when you look at both pitchers, 94 pitches thrown in the first 2 innings.
Yeah, and Andre reporting that the conditions down on the field very humid, and you have to wonder how much that's taken out of Mike Clevenger here in the early going, making what, right around 60 pitches already. Wade Miley facing the top of the order here in the third. Francisco Lindor singled in the first. In his last 8 hits, Lindor, a couple of doubles, couple of homers. He has 4 RBI in the series.
Yeah, it takes a while to come out of a slump. He's had a tough month of June. But he's going to work his way, he's going to swing his way, and he will hit his way out of it. But they've been scoring, even though he has been in the slump.
Yeah.
So, you know, you get help from all over the place. Other guys pick you up. The one thing I like about Frankie, he doesn't take it with him out in the field. He's a tremendous shortstop. Makes every play out there.
Miley ends up with the strikeout. Second of the night.
Well, we are going to return home tomorrow night. Weekend series with the Minnesota Twins. After the game, there'll be a fireworks show presented by Wayside Furniture. 10,000 fans are going to receive sunglasses courtesy of Subway, and it's also Dollar Dog Night tomorrow night. If we get home.
Maybe a late one.
It might be.
Outside corner, well located, 2-1. Low 3-1. Hit in the air to center field. Back is Gentry. 2 away. Our Napa know-how, longest multi-hit streak in Indians history, both of them belong to Shoeless Joe Jackson. Jose Ramirez trying to equal the 10-game streak he had in 1911. And the year after that, he put together an 11-game tear. You know, I think I just read where just recently the Hall of Fame came out and said that they would continue to uphold the commissioner's decree that Pete Rose is not eligible for the Hall of Fame. And you think about Shoeless Joe Jackson, he's on that list too.
Yeah.
Great a player as he was, he was caught up in the Black Sox scandal of 1919 for throwing the World Series. 2-1 pitch. Even though he had, it's hard to believe that he could have been in on the fix with the numbers he put up in that series. He swung the bat well, and a lot of people in his defense said, you know, he was illiterate, couldn't read, couldn't write.
Yeah.
So they weren't even sure if he knew what he signed when he did it. But bottom line is, you know, Kennesaw Mountain Landis, he ruled with an iron fist, and that's that. 3-2 pitch. Inside, ball 4. So 2 down with a runner aboard for Edwin Encarnacion. And our T-Mobile Unlimited Baseball break.
600 average there, huh? 27 for 45.
Well, what did I tell you? In the 9-game streak, Ramirez 23 for 42 coming into tonight.
Well, that's just a heck of a few weeks, boy.
Let me ask you this: if you had the power in your hand, and you could be commissioner for a day, and you could say, look, Shoeless Joe has more than paid his penance. Let's put him in the Hall of Fame, okay? Just hypothetically, say you had the power to do that. Does it really mean anything? I mean, the poor guy's been dead a long time.
I don't think so. I mean, how many people really have heard of Shoeless Joe unless you're a diehard sports fan now? You know, and I mean, you just follow sports and have your whole life.
Our man Brian just passed me this. Joe Jackson, Shoeless Joe in the 1919 World Series that he was supposedly in on the fix, batted .375 with a homer and 6 runs batted in.
Well, there you go.
He might have been the MVP if they won.
That's right.
But the 2-0 is a little high. Did he go? They said he did. The home plate umpire.
Yeah, the home plate umpire called it. He didn't get help.
All right. 2-1.
See, we'll look at it from the side. It was up, so I figure and he pretty much did. You know, that was a good call. Home plate umpires now, for the most part.
Look out, Andre.
Pretty good bat toss there. Now we've seen his left hand come off a lot, and this time that's the first time we've seen the bat fly out of his hand.
That is weird.
That's the first time we've seen that. Pretty good distance. We have 103 feet 6 inches on the toss.
Yeah, a lot of times you'll see the top hand come off on the long follow through. It's not normally the bottom hand that comes flying off. But as I said last night, you know, he's only got maybe 2 fingers on that bottom hand on the bottom of the bat.
We see it a lot.
Oh, he smacks this one left center. It's going to get down. Gentry will cut it off, and Ramirez has to hold at second base with 2 down.
Yeah, that ball sort of floated into the outfield. Base hit, you keep the inning going. Ramirez couldn't try to go to third. You're in scoring position now, and you'll see that's a hanging breaking ball, and Encarnacion hits it. You can see they were playing him, shading him to right center field, and with the one hopper, Ramirez has to just stay put at second. That'll give Santana an opportunity, and you're going to see your second baseman on the second base side of the infield this time because of the runner on second.
Jonathan Scope on that side of the infield, which is where Santana hit the ball his last time up.
Right where the base hit came last time.
Just inside, ball 1. Neither pitcher effective, especially sharp here tonight. Miley's given up 5 hits. And he's behind Santana 2-0.
Yeah, he's walked 1, and that's his problem. You know, he's just a little over hits per inning. He had 75 with hits allowed with 71 in the 3rd inning, but 40 walks. You know, he himself is 27 balls, 32 strikes. You know, a lot of pitches per hitter.
Down in the dirt, 3-0.
Well, there you take a look at the numbers. That's 60 pitches. Clevenger's at 59, but he's only pitched 2 innings.
And he fires a fastball in there for a strike. The 3-1 off speed pitch. Santana fooled, and it's a full count.
He wasn't going to throw him a second straight fastball, and that's the difference. When you throw that breaking ball, you have to throw it for a strike. Miley, the veteran, been around, 30 years old. He did throw it. He's now got a full count, so they'll be on the move.
He went fastball, then curveball. 3-2, curveball low, and he has loaded the bases with his second walk of the inning.
You see, that's how Santana's able to keep that patience and get the walk. Where, like we saw earlier in the game to the young Gonzalez, where he'll go after that breaking ball that's out of the strike zone. So already his second walk in the inning. Now McDowell's going to go out and talk to Miley.
He's trying to, White Miley's trying to get the attention of somebody. I think he wanted Jonathan Scope to come in and join the conversation, but Scope is deep in conversation with Edwin Encarnacion and never saw him.
Well, Jackson set that inning up, the second inning for the Tribe, with a fastball out over the plate.
Now Scope, a little late to the party, finally joins the conversation.
You're sitting there talking to an opposing team when your pitching coach is out there talking to the pitcher. Are you kidding me?
And he was waving to him, said, "Come here." And
obviously they're talking about signs.
Well,
unbelievable.
Opportunity for Austin Jackson here with 2 down to do some more damage.
No, that's down. He helped him out right there. Austin didn't like it.
I just walked 2 of the last 3 hitters, and he gets that call.
Yeah, you can't help him out.
And off the plate, well off the dish. It's a weird game the way it's unfolding. It's almost like you think back to those old prize fights. You get 2 heavyweight fighters, and all they've been doing so far is kind of they're in the clinch. They keep the referee keeps breaking them up.
Well, the pitcher set the tempo for a ball game.
You're right.
And I'm going to tell you what, there's being a bad tempo set for this one.
There is no tempo, right?
Right, there isn't. No flow to it whatsoever. We're going to work on PFPs, base running, cutoff, and relay drills is what we're going to work on today.
Well, already Baltimore has stranded 5 runners in the first 2 innings.
Right.
And now the Indians are in danger of joining them. They've got them loaded here in this 3rd inning with 2 down. But Jackson's patience has him back in the driver's seat, 2-1. Foul. And play. The count evens. And I think for both lineups, you talk about the pitcher setting the tempo. There's a level of frustration because when guys are sort of all over the place, it's hard to zero in. Where do I look?
Yeah, I know it. It sure is. And you just wait and you hope you get a pitch. They've made mistakes on the plate. Both pitchers have.
The 2-2. Shoots it foul the other way again.
That time he threw that fastball inside. Didn't give him a lot of swinging room, but he fouled it off to stay alive. Live for another pitch. You know, Miley doesn't want to go to 3-2 after walking 2 out of the last 3 hitters.
In off the plate, full count.
Now, see, that was a better pitch than strike 1. He said it was inside. That was a better pitch. It was high enough, but he said it was inside, so it was a little off the plate. Now that camera angle, I don't know, but that's a pretty good pitch to me.
Well, the runners will be off in this 2-2 tie here in the 3rd. 3-2 pitch, swinging a ground ball, diving Tejada. Ramirez scores the go-ahead run. Here comes Encarnacion. It's a 2-out, 2-run single for Austin Jackson. He's driven in 3 runs on the night, and the Indians lead it 4-2.
Yeah, Austin with a good series, and boy, that 2-2 pitch. Oh boy, how close! But he's able. He knew he was going to get the fastball. This one had to go on the plate, and he does damage to it. Hits it into left field. So he's now 2 for 2, 3 ribbies. Tribe jumps back on top, and this inning's still going.
All of this after there were 2 outs and nobody on base. 4 straight reaching safely.
Let me tell you before with this team, 40% of their runs scoring with 2 outs in this series. So they do some more damage. Those are back-breaking runs too. I mean, like when you say you start the inning, you have the first 2 guys out, and then you do damage.
Gomes shoots one. That's going to be foul. Can the first baseman get there? Yeah, Mancini. A nice over-the-shoulder catch to end the inning. Austin Jackson. He's driven in 3 on the night. And the Indians go back in front. Boy, Al, how about the crooked numbers today? The Astros put up 12 in beating Oakland. Diamondbacks put up 10 in beating the Rockies for the 2nd straight day. And the Rangers put up 11 to beat the Blue Jays. And oh, by the way, the White Sox are cruising. They're up 8-0 on Minnesota. Here it's a 4-2 Indians lead, 3rd inning. And Mike Clevenger has been the beneficiary of a lot of offensive support here. He just liked to try and find any semblance of rhythm to get himself on track here. But it is not forthcoming.
Well, after the Indians come back with that 2 runs there, I don't think Tito will watch it much longer if he doesn't, start to reel it in and throw some strikes.
Yeah, and that has been the problem. He's walked 3, he's hit 2. So
yeah, he's all over the place.
The damage, pretty much, he's handed Baltimore the opportunities. And it's frustrating for Mike. It's not like he's out there just winging it. He just can't seem to find his command. There's a great pitch. And Trey Mancini just locked up. 3rd strikeout for Clevenger. 1 down here in the inning.
This is the best slider he's thrown tonight. It's down, had a nice bite to it. He stayed behind it. and didn't try to overthrow it. That's an excellent pitch right there. Good job.
You know, Rick, one of the fun aspects of coming here to Baltimore every year is our little visits with Jim Palmer, who he loves the game as much as anybody.
No question.
We get that. But he said something today that I thought was really interesting, and that is, and I think he was referring more to late inning pressure packed situations where he said too many guys, too many pitchers start thinking about how am I going to get the third hitter out, and they forget about right now.
Getting the first and second guy out to get to that point.
And I think that's right now, in a nutshell, that's where Clev's at. He's just, as bad as everything's been, he's just got to say, okay, let me just make this pitch.
Yeah, right.
And move on from there.
Live for that next pitch. That's so true.
Right field, long run. Robertson cuts it off, and so he holds Wellington Castillo to a long one-out single.
Comes down. That's a breaking ball 0-2 pitch. He left middle of the plate, so
you can see Mike's facial reaction as that ball was headed to home plate. He just was like almost mouthing, no, that's not where
he just doesn't have his feel tonight. Not 0-2. He did a nice job to get ahead of the hitter, then made a mistake.
Hyun-Soo Kim, a single his first time up, takes ball one.
Clev today, 7 out of 16 first pitch strikes.
That's a good fastball. Even the count. The 1-1 missed in. Kim lined a 2-2 pitch to left center, leading off the second inning, but then eventually was forced out at home plate. Three balls and a strike.
Clevenger's last start at Minnesota, even though it was shortened because of rain, he went 4 innings and he threw 71 pitches. He's in the 3rd inning here and he has 71 pitches.
Looked like Kim was taking all the way there, and a full count. And again, that underscores what I was saying earlier. Maybe as a hitter, sometimes you get a 3-1 count. You know where to look for the pitch, and you're getting after it. But both pitchers have been so wildly inconsistent, it's tough to sit on a 1-1 pitch. So that's probably why he said, I'm not even going to bother. Now he's got to protect 3-2.
Yeah, force him to get in there twice, 2 times in a row. You're right. Well, that forces him to keep throwing pitches and keep throwing strikes, and he's got to do it.
And he's already probably running out of gas. It may seem crazy to think that in the 3rd inning, but he's been out there throwing a lot of pitches, and he's been out of the stretch the entire time. And there's ball 4. He's walked another. 2 on. 1 out. Ruben Tejada coming up.
Well, that's
bullpen's about to get busy for the Indians. 4th walk. Zach McAllister once again begins to loosen. Probably won't take him long to get hot because he was up last inning. The guess is that Clevenger's on the shortest of leashes now. He's got 1 hitter. Try and rein it in.
Well, this is the part of the lineup where he lost control and hit the 8th and 9th hitters last time.
Still not sure he ever hit Tejada, but Indians burned their challenge in the first inning. Smash to third. Ramirez goes to second. On to first, an inning-ending double play. Oh, did he need that? And the Indians defense bails him out of further damage. And after 3, the Indians lead it 4-2. One tonight. Stay tuned later in the game for Miller Time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Eric Gonzalez leading off for Cleveland here in the 4th, takes a strike. He struck out. His only time up in the 2nd. On a play to the right. Two and two. You know, it's one of those. Excuse me, that's a strike 3. And Gonzalez out on strikes for the 2nd time tonight. This is one of those weird games where we're only in the 4th inning. But the old rule for managers is if you get a guy up in the bullpen, if he gets up 3 times, he's either in the game or you're not going to use them all. The next time McAllister gets up will be his 3rd time.
Yeah, I know.
Loose already
sometimes
tonight.
That's the problem when you have. They don't truly have a long guy, but that's what his job is. If that starter's going to get knocked out, and you don't want to take him out if he's like treading water, and that's exactly what Clevenger's doing right now. That ground ball double play saved him. So you know what? He'll go out again and start. But you're right. I think the next time he gets in trouble, he'll be gone.
Daniel Robertson grounded into a double play. His only time up. My guess, Arch, would be that Adam Pletko would be your long man because he's been a starter down at AAA. But he hasn't pitched in a while now.
He may be the long man if you're losing
in a different situation, right?
If you're winning by 2, you want to try and keep that lead and win the game.
Tito's going to go with the guys that have been here and have done it all year long.
Yep, that's the difference.
And that's where Carrasco going 6 last night, and Kluber giving you the complete game effort in the opener. It gives Francona the option to maybe extend that bullpen a little more tonight, even though You're coming right back at home, starting a 4-game series, or I should say a weekend series tomorrow night, followed by a 4-game series next week against Texas.
Yeah, but the game at hand tonight, we have a chance to have a 7-1 road trip. Would be outstanding, and it's, you know, it's staring you right in the face right now with a 2-run lead. So you're hoping offensively you can score some more runs and you can keep going so he can push some more guys. He's saying, come on offense, let's go.
Well, Matt, I would say, Matt, you know, we've watched Tito use his bullpen. If they have the leader in the middle of the inning, he'll probably try to use a guy like Otero or, you know, or somebody that he uses. Then he'll go into those long guys. Remember,
in the air to center. Go ahead.
Sean Armstrong is out there, hasn't thrown in a while. Pletko hasn't thrown in a while. Those guys have been traveling with the team basically since what, Saturday, Sunday. So those guys haven't thrown at all. And you still have no Cody Allen tonight, but we did find out tonight, just so we know, there's a chance that Cody Allen could be with the team tomorrow because everything has gone well back at home with he and his wife and the baby. And he told Tito if everything stays as is, he would like to be with the team tomorrow, even though Tito kind of told him, take your time. So you may get Cody back tomorrow. They think Andrew Miller's good to go. And you know Brian Shaw will throw as well. And Boone Logan didn't throw yesterday as well. So I think he has a full complement of guys out there if needed.
Yeah, I mean, Brian Shaw only had to face one batter last night. I know he pitched 2/3 of an inning the night before, but all things considered, yeah, and Brian's a machine. He can go out there and throw every day, I think, if you asked him to. Two down, bases empty. And this is the same situation Miley was in last inning. He had a strikeout and a fly ball to center. The exact same thing. And then 4 straight reached, and the Indians scored 2 runs to take the lead.
Yeah, and it was the 2-out walk that set it up to Ramirez.
Yeah. And Encarnacion singled, then he walked Santana. Austin Jackson delivered the 2-run single. Low, 2-2. Ball at the end of the bat to first. Race to the bag. It ends up very close. Mancini just did get there ahead of Lindor to end the inning. So the Indians go 1-2-3 for the first time tonight. Middle of the 4th, they lead it 4-2. Orioles have given up 5 or more in 18 straight.
Yeah, you Indians need one more in this game to make it 19. You see the Phillies, the longest streak ever, 20 games.
Strike over the inside corner. Craig Gentry hit by a pitch. He squared around to try and bunt, and the ball hit him right where his number 14 on the front of his jersey is.
He's going to have a nice little bruise there, or sore rib. Watch where it gets him. He squared around. He couldn't get out of the way. Ouch.
The 2-1 line to center, and Austin Jackson will hold Gentry to a leadoff single. The showstopper from last night, Justin Verlander, retired the first 16, and then Gerard Dyson with a leadoff bunt, and then it unraveled on Verlander.
It sure did. He had 10 strikeouts out of the first 16 guys, a perfect game going, but after that bunt, they just took over, and it looked like Verlander fell apart. They ended up winning that ball game 7-5. So,
and the Tigers have now lost 5 in a row, and that's got to be a killer. You got a guy dealing, taking a perfect game into the 6th, and you're up 4-0. He's your ace. If you're in a Tiger uniform, you've got to feel pretty good, and then the next thing you know, what happened?
It happens in a hurry. You got that first base runner, you got out of the stretch, and he got himself into trouble.
Also, you know, all over Twitter, I saw a number of baseball people tweeting, "Oh, hey, Gerard Dyson, he bunted. You know, he had a perfect game." But afterwards, Verlander said, "Hey, that's part of Gerard Dyson's game." And he said, "It's not like I was in the 8th or the 9th inning." He goes, I have no problem with Gerard Dyson, what he did right there. And hey, how can you argue the way it sparked Seattle too?
It doesn't matter. 6th inning is still a winnable ball game. So it doesn't matter who does it. You're just trying to get on base to win the game.
Well, that's what Dyson, and you know, we've always liked him. He said after the game, he's like, I wasn't going to go up there and just keep hacking away at him the way he was blowing through our lineup. So I went up there trying to do what I do best, which is bunt. That's what speed do.
I do what I do. And you know what? You should. You know what happens? Say, for example, that both those teams are fighting for the second wild card game. You know, and it turns out you lose it by a game.
Runner goes, throw by Gomes. The call is out. Kerwin Danley raising the right hand. We'll see if Baltimore issues a challenge. Boy, anymore it seems like every stolen base attempt we have to wait.
Yeah,
because they're so close.
I know it. That's what it is. Watch the leg. He had the good jump. Well, and then he slid past the bag.
Well, the funny thing is Gentry believes he's out because he's walking off the field. But John Russell, the acting manager, is waiting to see what the replay guy tells him, and he says, don't bother. So Yan Gomes has thrown out yet another would-be base stealer.
They are close. Well, Baltimore last in the league in stolen bases. They have 16 as a team. And we talked about that when you're in this ballpark. Do you want to take that chance of having people thrown out on the base?
And I'm not bringing this up to be critical, but I'm asking you, you're down 2. You're facing a guy that's already walked a bunch of guys. He's hit some people. Why take a chance as a base stealer in that situation? Gentry's
a guy that in his game, he's a base stealer. He's stolen 3. He hasn't been caught yet. So they felt, okay, go ahead. You know, you have a chance to run on that breaking ball or whatever. And they They don't want to take aggressiveness away from him. But here's a guy that led the game off with a home run.
Seth Smith, his 8th of the year, was an opposite field home run that carried over the Baltimore bullpen into the second tier where the Indians bullpen is. To center, Jackson has it measured, makes the catch, 2 down. Our player profile brought to you by Levin Furniture. Manny Machado. Once upon a time, doesn't seem like it was that long ago. This is kind of like the Jason Kipnis thing we talked about the other night. 3rd overall pick back in 2010. Didn't take him long to get here. He's only going to be 25 years old coming up in a couple of weeks.
Remember early when he started, you know, he had the knee problems and missed almost a whole year or so after one of his first 2 seasons. But you knew he was going to be a good player for a long time.
He swung and missed. He went down, and on the foul ball, I think it went back and hit the umpire. This is like a pinball. Watch this thing. Nailed the umpire in the chest.
Yes,
I think Gomes got hit on the bat with the bat, and then he went down to a knee. And it's 0-2. You and I had this conversation, I think, when we were walking back to the hotel last night. Machado's one of those guys, he has the kind of talent that makes the game look easy, doesn't he?
Yeah, he sure does. Sometimes it doesn't look like he's max effort. You know, where some guys have to play the game max effort. He's not one of those guys. You know, I know he slows the game down. He's very good, but there's times where you may think, hey, he's not hustling.
We're not using,
and you know, you'll look at him and say, well, he's not even trying out there.
We're not comparing him to Miguel Cabrera, but that's the way Miguel Cabrera carries himself sometimes. It's so easy for him. Ground ball to third, and Ramirez will throw him out. So Mike Clevenger only faces 3 here in the 4th. He needed that, and the Indians needed that. They lead it 4-2. Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by Levin Furniture. For the best deals on furniture and mattresses, shop Levin's. And by your Northern Ohio Honda dealers. Made in Ohio, Ohio proud. 4-2, Indians on top. Jason Kipnis going to lead off for Cleveland here in the 5th. He's 0 for 2 on the night. And Wade Miley's pitches up high, ball 1. And a fastball evens the count. 1 ball, 1 strike. Wrapped down the line, headed for the corner. It's a fair ball, and it kicks right to Kim. But Kipnis motors into second base with a leadoff double, and that's his 13th two-bagger of the year.
Nice stroke there by Jason. Stayed on the ball nicely and kept it fair down the left field line. He got a fastball out over the plate. It was elevated a little bit. Short hops the wall, and it comes right back to Kim. You can see the spin on it. But Kipnis goes in there, his 13th double of the year. Good start to this inning. Time to add on, middle part of the ball game.
Jose Ramirez drew a key walk in that 3rd inning. It came with 2 outs. But the next thing you know, the Indians scored 2 to take the lead. He flied to right in the 1st. And a chopper to short. And he is out number 1, and Kipnis has to hold at second base. Arcia in the driver's seat. Indians have had 10 or more hits in 8 straight games. Both they and the Rockies have done that. And the Indians, longest streak since '05.
They're at 7 now.
And Edwin Encarnacion has 1 of them. Low, ball 1. Out of play, right side.
We send along our congratulations to Willie and Nell Spike, celebrating their 54th anniversary. Congratulations. And a happy birthday goes out, number 18. AJ Caniglio. Happy birthday, AJ.
Right, AJ. 18, huh?
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
So is he going to be a senior, or did
Yes,
he just graduate? He's going to be a senior.
Correct. Unlike Max. Max is a year ahead of him.
Well, a little meeting at the mound. Bullpen is up for Baltimore. Looks like a left-hander out there. Oh, I thought he had his glove on. He just got it under his wing. So that's Gabriel Inoa, right-hander, who pitched in the 1st game of this series. Not a 1-1. In the dirt, and it skips out of the way. 3 balls and a strike.
Yeah, you know, Miley's going to be a little careful here to Encarnacion.
Breaking ball, backdoor outside corner. By the way, the Indians run number 5 out there in scoring position. In the 18 consecutive games in which the Orioles have allowed at least 5 runs, they are just 6 and 12.
Yeah.
Smashed up the middle, backhanded by Scope. His throw on the money. 2 down. Kipnis to 3rd.
Well, he was able to come back and get him after falling behind. He went breaking ball fastball, and it sort of got down on the trademark of Edwin. And Scope makes a beautiful play. Backhand, flips it over there. So now Miley a chance to get out of this 5th without allowing any more. If he can retire Carlos Santana.
Which so far tonight he has not been able to. Yielded a hit to Santana in the second. He came around to score, then he walked him in the third. And Miley, his tank's got to be nearing the empty mark.
Yep, 57% strikes.
Again, if you join us later, it was 87 at game time, but it's one of those nights where it's very humid. I mean, the flags aren't even moving. It's just one of those just
sitting there.
Kind of sticky night. Well, it's second night of summer. What do you want?
That's right.
It's Baltimore and it's summertime.
Well, that's exactly right. There you go. She's fanning herself.
I mean, you walk out of the ballpark and you're surrounded by water. The Inner Harbor is literally on the other side of where the B&O building is out there in right field. Walk down the block or two and
go for a swim.
Beautiful Inner Harbor. It's funny too, when we walk back around, you hit that spot and it just feels like the humidity went up another 10 points, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Here's a 3-0. Santana taking borderline at best. 3-1. Not a pitch he wanted to offer at.
Well, 3-0. He's called a couple down there today, so you keep it rolling. See if he comes back with a 3-1 slider like he did with Encarnacion, and then go to the fastball if he hits. Went with the fastball,
but a topper to short. Tejada throws him out. Leadoff double, guys at third. We're halfway through. The Indians 4, the Orioles 2. Ball day on Fox. Brewers Braves at 4 Eastern on FS1. And the Angels Red Sox clash at 7 Eastern on your local Fox station. You can watch it all live on Fox Sports Go. Speaking of the Angels, you know, we were talking about the All-Star balloting the other day, and I mistakenly said Mike Trout was out for the year. I meant to say he's out for the All-Star game. And I was just reading today where he's hoping to maybe start swinging a bat here very soon. He had surgery to repair the torn thumb ligaments in his left thumb, and they originally had him out 6 to 8 weeks, but he's hoping, he said earlier this week, he's hoping to return and play in the All-Star game. That's amazing.
Well, he's Superman. Does it surprise you?
No, I guess it wouldn't, right?
Come on, if anybody could do it, it'd be Mike Trout.
High fly ball. Foul. Santana might have room here. Makes the catch right in front of the target.
That is a good out.
Speaking of injuries, the report for the Indians brought to you by the attorneys at El Canal. Brandon Geyer has already played 4 games at AAA Columbus, and so far so good. Andre Knott has more.
So far so good, but you want to guess what happened to him?
He got hit with a pitch.
He got hit with a pitch. He got hit a couple times, but he got hit in the ankle, and it got smoked pretty good. He's back in Cleveland. He should be okay. He's going to play another rehab game tomorrow, and the team will most likely start discussing getting him back here. The one thing that Tito told me earlier, they want to get him back to where he was in spring training. If you remember spring training, he was swinging it really good. Then he pulled his hamstring towards the end of spring training, and Tito just feels like he never got his legs underneath him. They want his legs back underneath him when they get him back here. So hopefully, middle of the weekend, maybe after the weekend, he should be back with the team.
Well, he needs an ankle if you want those legs under him, so he's got to get that healed up now.
He can have mine. He just got hit with it.
What is it when we send everybody down and they get hit? Gomes, Kipnis.
You're the one that always tells me the pitching is better up here.
Yeah, you can stay in the batter's box up here. They're a little wild down there, although Club hit a couple guys tonight.
Popped up foul, almost a carbon copy. Watch Santana, same play.
Wow.
Almost the exact same spot, 2 down.
Stay there for the next guy.
You know you're not allowed?
I know.
I read that the other day. I didn't realize that they had to have a rule for that, but you have to be between the lines.
Yeah.
Not that anybody in their right mind would ever say, I think I'm going to line up over here.
Stay over there, yes. Maybe the umps won't see him.
Well, he knows the route. Let's put it that way. It won't take him. Won't be hard for him to get over there. Trey Mancini is 0 for 2 tonight. Up the gut, Lindor, diving stop, cuts it off, throws, but not in time. Mancini beats it out. Nothing more Lindor could do. Great diving stop.
No, he got to it, and you knew he was going to get up and throw it. And he is going to one-hop it. Great effort. But Mancini beats it out. That's the difference of playing shortstop and then between second and third, where you can leave your feet, you can come up and still have a chance at him. It's short. And I mean, he ranged far to his left there. You just don't have the time once you get the ground and get up unless the guy is just so slow.
Wellington Castillo takes a strike. So Mike Clevenger closing in on the 100 pitch mark. He can get one more out. Might not sound like much, but with everything that he went through early in this game, it's impressive, I think, that he's been able to give you 5 innings
That was
tonight.
a changeup. That's the changeup I was looking for early. Maybe he got a feel for it. And he threw it to the right-hander. He threw 3 early, but that was all left-handers. There's the, it looks like a fastball, but it had nice spin to it. It was down in the strike zone, even maybe a ball, but you got the swing and miss.
Now the 0-2. That fastball took off. Oh, he got him to go fish. Mike Clevenger with 5 really gutsy innings tonight. He may have not had his A or even his B game, but he has patched it together through 5. He gutted it out, and I remember Lenny Barker was the first pitcher I think that explained to me, you make 30 starts in a year, you're going to go out 10 times with really just awesome stuff. You feel like you're invincible on those days. He said there's 10 games where you go out and you got to really battle your way through it. And he said then you might have 10 starts where you don't have it. And he said those are the make or break starts that determine how good your season is. Because if you can figure out a way to compete and grind your way through those games, then you're going to have a successful season. And Mike obviously didn't have much tonight, but he somehow bobbed and weaved his way through.
Yeah, he did. First 3 innings. That 3rd inning, once he got the double play to get out of that inning and settle him down for the next 2.
Meanwhile, Wade Miley hasn't exactly been Sandy Koufax here tonight, but he retired the last 3 to end the 5th on ground ball outs, and here he is pitching into the 6th now, well over 100 pitches on the night. Jackson shoots one near the line, slicing foul. Now Baltimore has a left-hander up. They had the right-hander Inoa last inning. Richard Blyer. He's already pitched twice in this series, but did not pitch last night. Jackson really trying to shoot it that way.
First at bat, he missed out over the plate. That enabled him to shoot it that way. But now he's keeping it inside on him. And he's fouling it off.
White Sox lead the Twins 9-0. They're in the 9th at Target Field. And Jackson has his 3rd hit of the night. A leadoff single here in the 6th. And here comes the manager, John Russell, or I should say the acting manager. John Russell's going to make the Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen for the left-hander Richard Blyer, as Wade Miley will call it a night after 111 pitches. He goes 5+. He has allowed 4 runs, and he'll be responsible for the runner aboard when we come back to Baltimore. Toyota dealers. Indians struck first in the 2nd on an RBI triple in the 2nd inning. And then Yan Gomes dumped in a single right after Jackson to bring him home. It was 2-1 Indians. And then Austin Jackson breaking the 2-all tie with a 2-out 2-run single in the 3rd. So he's driven in 3 out of the 4 runs here tonight.
Yeah, another good game in this series for Austin Jackson.
Yeah, think about that. He's had 7 runs batted into the series.
Yeah, a couple of doubles last in the opening game.
And on the road trip, he has. Well, I thought he had more than that. So he got 8 RBIs on the road trip. Hey, that's all in a day's work, right?
Well, he's had some big hits at the right time.
Elon Gomes with a foul back. Richard Blyer, left-hander, making his 19th appearance, a 1.69 ERA. Jackson drawing a throw.
Austin has not tried a stolen base attempt this year. He was a guy early in his career that could take off and run and get jumps. And remember, he had a bad toe this year. That's why he went out, went on the DL.
Chopped up the middle, cut off. Scope with the flip to Tejada for 1 on the first, and they turn a double play. It was very close, but it looked like they did indeed turn 2, and the Indians are out of challenges anyway.
Second double play the Tribe has hit into tonight. That turn took a little while, but you can see, I don't even know if Gomes hit first base.
And it's 2 away for Eric Gonzalez, who has struck out twice tonight. Out of play, right side. And the count 0-2. Hit pretty well. Right center, left center field, and it is gone into the Baltimore bullpen. Eric Gonzalez on an 0-2 pitch. Absolutely destroying that delivery by Richard Blyer, and it extends the Indians' lead to 5-2. His second home run this year.
Not the pitch you wanted to make. You know, the location. He pulled his hands in on a fastball in 0-2. And there it was. Or that might even been a little cutter or a breaking ball that he gets in there. But he fights it off, gets it out into the Orioles bullpen, and that streak continues now for Baltimore. 19.
Boy, did he get to barrel to that quickly, though.
Yes, he did.
Pull his hands through. And that thing, I didn't realize how far beyond the wall that ended up flying. It hit that pizza sign, which is at the back part of Baltimore's bullpen. So Eric Gonzalez extending the Indians' lead and extending Baltimore's pitching miseries. As you mentioned, that's now 19 straight games in which they've given up at least 5 runs. Strike. The other thing about that stat is that, let's say the Indians don't score any more tonight. That would be 7 times out of the 19 where they've given up exactly 5.
Yeah.
But that's a big number. How many times do we say if the Indians score 4 or more, how tough they are to beat? And that's ball 4. And Daniel Robertson Once again, it's a 2-out, bases empty rally for the Indians, if you will. The home run by Gonzalez, but that's how they got it going in the third. 2 outs, nobody on base. A walk, a single, a walk, then the 2-out, 2-run knock by Jackson. Here, 2 outs, bases empty. The homer by Gonzalez. Now a walk to Robertson, and you turn it over to the top of the order. Ground ball, single into right field. And Robertson stops at second. And here come the Indians again with 2 outs. They keep swinging. So here's the numbers on that. When Cleveland scores 4 or more, they are 31-10 on the year.
There you have it. There you go. 9 straight with 10 hits with that single by Lindor. Longest streak in the majors this year.
And you got to go back to 0-1. The last time the Indians did it. And that was a team with Hall of Famer Robbie Alomar, Juan Gonzalez, Omar Vizquel.
Tomorrow they're going to have to.
Manny Ramirez. I think, no, was Manny gone by 0-1?
I think 0-2 is gone.
There's the pitch. Jason Kipnis takes. Yeah, Juan replaced Manny. That's right. His last season was 2000. So bottom line is that was a pretty good offensive team in 01. They were beaten by Seattle in the playoffs, but that team could put up some gaudy numbers. And I think that's commonly referred to as sort of right there in the red zone of the PED era, where you know, offensive numbers were through the roof everywhere.
Well, we always revert back to what year? 2000, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With all the home runs, all the runs, and everything like that. So you're absolutely right.
Jason Kipnis rolls it over, and it looks awkward, and it's close at first, and they just barely got Kipnis to end the inning. But Eric Gonzalez, he gets into one. Pretty good blast to left center, and the Indians' lead is now 5-2.
Including savings and access to Tribe Rewards, and today's Tribe Rewards code is Kipnis. Visit Indians.com for complete details.
Mike Clevenger's night over after 5 innings, and Zach McAllister will come on to pitch the 6th. You just hope Zach didn't leave his game in the bullpen, because he was out there warming up for most of the night.
Well, yeah, that started early. But this time he's finally in. He'll be fine. Up behind him looks like Boone Logan throwing.
Hyun-Soo Kim singled in the second, walked in the third. And McAllister blew it right by him. By the way, Mike Clevenger made exactly 100 pitches tonight in his 5 innings of work. And he was at, what, 60 pitches, or right
Second
about
inning,
60.
59.
59 pitches after 2 innings. Tonight.
Yep. So he 41 the rest of the way in the next 3.
And he never did have a 1-2-3 inning. The closest he came was in the 4th when Gentry led off with a single, but when he was thrown out trying to steal, and they got a fly ball out and a ground ball out, so he had to face 3 hitters in that inning. But it's one of those performances that could be, I don't know, I think it's kind of some sort of a boost for Mike, because you go out there when you don't have your stuff, but you're able to compete and stay in the game and give your team a chance. You can build on that, I would think. Fly ball to center. Austin Jackson gliding back on the track for out number 1.
Well, he really didn't have command. That breaking ball tonight was very inconsistent, and we didn't see a lot of good changeups, and normally he does, but he painted a couple. He made some pitches when he had to. That was the big play. Bases loaded, nobody out. Got the double play, but in that inning, he ended up walking a run in. That double play, though, the second one he got in the 3rd, he really settled down and then pitched after that. And had some help, as you said. Gomes threw a guy out at second.
McAllister, first pitch breaking ball in there for a strike to Ruben Tejada. Out of play down the right side. Got him looking. Painted the fastball at 95 outside part of the plate. Tejada maybe just couldn't pull the trigger.
Well, he didn't, and he knew it was a strike. It had a little comeback to it. Nice pitch. You see it come back just a little bit and enough to get the call. And he knew it. Good pitch by McAllister.
Boone Logan is up in the Cleveland bullpen right now, getting loose. Craig Gentry taking a called strike. Nick Goody, the right-hander, is also getting loose. So Tito's, he's got his guys lined up out there. He's ready to go to empty the arsenal to try and finish this series with a win now. Oh, what another good breaking ball. McAllister fires, and Gentry caught in between. You can see him shaking his head going, man.
That's a nice little slider, tight. Had a tough time picking up the spin. That's why you get that check swing like that.
Gomes wants it again. Made that one a little too nasty. Top of the order, Seth Smith, left-handed hitter, is on deck. That could be the man Logan would come on to face, whether or not that's here in the 6th or in the 7th. remains to be seen. Here's the 1-2. In the air. Right center. Jackson says, I'll take it. He does, inning over. McAllister works a 1-2-3-6. The Indians up 5-2. Baseball is brought to you by the injury lawyers at Elk & Elk, proud partners of the Cleveland Indians. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. By the stylish 2017 Kia Optima. And by Smart Path Forward. Lakeland Community College is your Smart Path Forward. Enroll now. (5-2), Indians on top. And now in the 7th inning, Jose Ramirez leading off. Walked and scored in the 3rd. And he hopes of keeping that multi-hit streak alive.
Well, if he gets one here, he needs to. That way he'll have a chance maybe in the 9th inning.
Popped him up. All ground. Mancini can't get there. And he popped him up into shallow right. Scope is out. Smith is in. And so it looks like Ramirez string of 9 consecutive multi-hit games will come to an end here tonight. But man, what a run it's been, and to think that only shoeless Joe Jackson has a longer streak in the history of the Indians franchise.
Well, he'd like to keep that hitting streak going, make it 10. If he can just get one more at bat, and then he may have a chance in the 9th.
Edwin is 1 for 3 tonight, singled and scored in the 3rd. It's a final in Minnesota. The White Sox whitewash the Twins 9-0. for Chicago. That stops a 3-game slide. Minnesota now 36 and 34. Currently 2 back of the Tribe. Indians go on to win. It would be 2.5 games. Ground ball right at the second baseman, Schoop. 2 away. The Indians swing into summer tomorrow night back at Progressive Field. Minnesota Twins will be in town. It's Bauer going for the Indians, and Alberto Mejia will go for Minnesota. Coverage begins at 6:30 with Indians Live. First pitch at 7. Swing into summer on Sports Time Ohio and Fox Sports Go, presented by Click It or Ticket. And Carlos Santana singled and scored in the second. Walked in the third. Look out, folks. I was watching an old game that they were running on, I think it was MLB Network recently. Tim McCarver was in the booth, and the foul ball came back. And McCarver said, he said, I already gave. I'm not trying to catch any more of those.
Yeah.
He goes, I am getting out of the way. And the ball, I think, came back and hit a camera in the booth. He goes, I don't care.
He knows they come up there too quickly.
Figure you spent all those years catching foul tips and all that. I'm done.
Yeah, he's paid his dues.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that, watching those fans. It's like, it's going to hurt.
Well, yes. Well, he knows he was a player, but the fans sit there, they see it coming, and their eyes get big, and then all of a sudden they see how fast it's coming, and then they start ducking.
Yeah, these guys, like Andre tells us, when Edwin Encarnacion's in the box, if you're down there behind the dugout at third base, boy, you better be paying attention.
Absolutely.
Because when that guy swings, it's coming off the bat at a very high rate of speed, and that right there can be dangerous.
Well, that's why I like the rules where the netting for most ballparks go over there and cover a lot of people from behind the dugouts.
Just missed. Richard Blyer wanted that one to get out of the inning, but instead the count evens at 2-2. Our video tape editor, Steve Bardo, used to run camera at Progressive Field many years ago. And he said, you know, he had the camera, he was working on focusing the lens, and somebody fouled a ball off, and he had his left arm up focusing on the lens, and the ball hit him right in the rib cage. Kind of like what we saw with Gentry earlier tonight. And Steve said, he goes, for about 2 weeks, I had a black and blue streak down my left side around my rib cage. 2-2. Rip just fouled on the first base side. And the ball girl, she got in front of it, but she did. She's a highly paid professional.
I'll tell you what, I don't think I would have gotten in front of it. I would have let it go.
Down low, full count. This has been, I think, what you would say a rather quintessential Carlos Santana at bat. He just works, he grinds, he fouls pitches off, makes you throw strikes.
He gets to that 3-2 count somehow, some way.
Right back up the middle, and he's got himself His second hit of the night.
Isn't that great? He's burned, and you see where Schoop was? He was on the second base side, and he burned him on both sides. His first at bat, and he burns him in this at bat because he was able to get it by him.
John Russell filling in for Buck Showalter, who's away for the birth of his grandchild tonight. Makes a move to the bullpen. We'll be right back. Indians up 5-2 in the seventh. Mentioned earlier, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Austin Jackson having himself quite a night. 3 hits, an RBI triple, a 2-out 2-run single that was huge because it put the Indians back in front tonight. And then had his 3rd hit in the 6th inning.
Yeah,
now he's coming up again.
He had a nice first game of the series too. A couple of doubles, 3 RBI. So stepped up, played big in this series.
What I've really admired about Jackson is, you know, all those years we watched him on the other side, you don't get to know a guy unless you watch him every day. He came in here very quiet, under the radar, and has just worked his tail off to get ready to try and make the team in spring training. And then, you know, just again, goes about his business. He's always working in the cage, doing whatever he has to do to get himself ready to play. And then, hey, the opportunities really weren't there early in the season. But slowly but surely, the more chances he got, the more you started to see, well, this guy still has plenty left in the tank.
Well, and you asked Tito about him on this road trip, stepping in for Michael Brantley, who, you know, was on the paternity list, and then came back. They put him on the DL, won't be back till Monday, but he stepped in and has filled the shoes nicely.
To right field, back goes Smith, makes the catch on the warning track. Stretch time in Baltimore. 5-2 Cleveland.
Cody Allen jersey, courtesy of the Car Parts Warehouse. That'll take place Saturday night, the middle game of that 3-game series. Actually, it's a 4 o'clock start. Twins are in town. Just go to Indians.com for the ticket information.
Boone Logan on to pitch here in the 7th. Could be just for the one-hitter. Left-handed batting Seth Smith. Manny Machado, Jonathan Scope to follow. And Nick Goody, who is warming up alongside Logan. The right-hander is ready in the bullpen right now. Smith homered in the 1st. But a huge at bat for him was in the 2nd. Bases loaded, nobody out. They had Clevenger on the ropes. And he hit a little comebacker to the mound. And Clevenger calmly started a 1-2-3 double play. Got out of the inning only allowing 1 run. And that might have been a huge turning point in this game.
No question about it.
Because the Indians immediately came right back in the 3rd and took the lead. Clevenger did not allow a run over the next 3 innings. He went 5, made 100 pitches, 2 runs on 5 hits, 4 walks, couple of hit batters. It wasn't pretty early, but he navigated his way through 5. And now the bullpen. Zach McAllister, 1-2-3, 6th. Logan has Smith down on the count 0-2 to start the bottom of the 7th now. Pretty good discipline, because with 2 strikes, you're up there thinking protect. That's not a pitch you can even hit. If you start after it, it's hard to stop. Fastball away, misses, 2-2. Smith able to spoil one. Breaking ball missed inside. Smith was maybe hoping it would graze him.
Well, this is a backup. Never really broke, and he just got out of the way.
Back out of play. And the 3-2 shoots it foul. Out of play. This will be the 10th pitch of the at bat here. So Seth Smith doing a pretty good job of battling Boone Logan, but Boone strikes him out. He prevails. And that is out number 1 here in the 7th, and here comes Terry Francona to make yet another move to the bullpen.
Yeah, he threw that fastball up and away, got it by him. So Tito's going to make the move. Logan again on for one hitter. And gets his job done with the strikeout.
Nick Goody will be coming on when we come back. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. One out, bases empty. Manny Machado, then Jonathan Schoop due up Nick Goody. On for the Indians. 26th appearance this season. And Goody pitched 2/3 of an inning in game 2 of the series with a walk and a strikeout. So this will be the first time he'll be facing Machado. He did face Schoop the other night. Fastball upstairs. Manny Machado has walked a couple of times tonight, grounded out in the 4th. Fouled right back and nearly picked off Jonathan Schoop in the on-deck circle. Right at Kipnis. But he tried to play it on one hop and it just skipped past him. That ball was hit hard.
You think?
And Machado has his first hit tonight.
That ball was smoked. Boy, he just stayed right on it. I'm telling you, that came off at about 110. No question. That was a one-hop smash.
You're just hoping if you're Kipnis that it goes in the glove.
Sorry. It was 114.
Is that right?
Yeah. That thing was smoked.
Thanks for clarifying.
No problem.
Jonathan Schoop, 1 for 2 tonight with a single and a walk. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It's a good slider down and away, able to get Schoop to chase after it.
See Goody blowing on his fingers. It is just a sticky night here in Baltimore. Back out of play. 87 at game time. Very, very humid.
Schoop getting the start in the number 3 hole tonight for the Orioles because Adam Jones gets the night off. Schoop has had a nice year. He has 14 homers. He has 21 doubles, so 35 extra base hits. And, you know, he packs a wallop, 43 ribbies.
He kind of reminds me a little bit, I think, back to, remember when they had Melvin Moore here?
Yeah.
He's the guy that just flies under the radar. You know, everybody obviously understand. You talk about Machado's a great player, and they've got some big boppers. But this guy's steady as she goes, plays good defense.
He's a heck of a player.
Puts up the numbers.
They talk about Cano, and you know, they talk about a lot of second basemen in this game. But you're right. He flies under the radar, but he's a good baseball player.
Yeah, it seemed like Melvin Moore was one of those guys you never really thought of him when you thought of the Orioles, and yet you get a big hit, break your heart every once in a while, and play him in a series, make the defensive plays. I guess when you play in the East, it comes with the territory. People want to talk about the star players, and they get the lion's share.
You get New York playing in that division. Nobody else gets any credit.
In the dirt.
And I'm sure these guys get used to it. They're fine with it. They don't, you know, they don't need it, which is fine. They just go out there and play the game. They play it the right way. They play for a good manager.
One on, one out, 2-2 pitch. Popped up foul and out of play. I know he was, you know, up throwing to the bullpen for quite a while. He just looks like he's soaked.
Looked like he got out of a swimming pool right now.
What did you go for a dip in the inner harbor before you got called into the game? Foul back.
Boy, Jonathan Schoop is doing a nice job to foul off some tough 2-strike pitches. Had the breaking ball pitch before that. He tried to elevate the fastball there, and Schoop gets a piece of that one.
Swung out and missed. He got him to expand his strike zone with a slider well off the dish. And there are 2 down in the inning.
That was a nice way to go. Gomes' little decoy sitting on the inside, but then he wants that slider away, but he got him to swing at a pitch out of the zone. And even if he does anything with it, he's not going to be able to do too much. So he gets the strikeout, out number 2.
Mark Trumbo is 0 for 3 on the night. 2 for 14 in the series with 6 strikeouts. Evens the count, 1-1. 24,954 the attendance here tonight. $26,000 last night, 22 the night before, 13 for the opener. And in the opener, it was Corey Kluber who pitched a 3-hit shutout with 11 strikeouts, and the Indians won 12-0. And the man in the foreground next to Kluber, Michael Brantley. Andre reporting earlier he's going to run the bases tomorrow when the Indians get home, and hopefully be back in the lineup on Monday or Tuesday. Michael's wife just had a baby. Cody Allen's wife gave birth to a baby last night. This is a fertile team, isn't it?
Boy, I'll say.
Here's the 2-2 in the dirt. Three balls, 2 strikes, with 2 down and a runner at first here in the 7th.
We'll use as much of that rosin as he can. Try and keep it dry.
The 3-2 pitch, runner goes, swing and a miss. He threw it by him and struck him out. Goody fans a pair. We go to the 8th. 5-2 Cleveland. Presented by authority of the Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. (5-2) Cleveland. And we now go to the 8th inning with Yan Gomes, Eric Gonzalez, and Daniel Robertson duo. Gabriel, you know what's at the final out of the 7th. Stays on here to pitch the 8th. Gomes launches one foul. Yan had an RBI single in the 2nd inning. Indians opened that frame with 3 straight hits. Enabling them to take a 2-1 lead. And then Baltimore tied it in the bottom of the 2nd. And the Tribe went ahead in the 3rd with a 2-out 2-run single from Austin Jackson. Added a run 2-out homer by Eric Gonzalez in the 6th. That's been it so far. Down on strikes, 1 away. Down to Andre.
Well, you know, Jose Ramirez's hit streak could be done tonight. And I was talking before the game with Terry Francona about shoeless Joe Jackson and Jose, and he laughed. He says, you know, I could have messed this thing up after the Minnesota series because I almost sat him down and I asked him, is he tired? He said, yeah, I'm tired, but don't take me out. So he hasn't taken him out. So I would guess when the team gets home, there's a chance that you can see Jose Ramirez get a day off because he was the only guy that played in the doubleheader in Minnesota and has continued to play. And it's obvious why, but Tito does want to give him a break at some point in time.
I don't blame him. He deserves a day off. He's been playing very hard. And you know what? When you're hot like that, even though I'm sure he admits he might be tired, you know, you hang in there, you play.
You know, Jose is one of those guys that he's had to fight so bad to get here. The way it was kind of explained to me, it's hard for him to say, yes, take me out of the lineup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's hard for him just to say, give me that day, even if he may need it.
Well, Tito's just going to have to say, you're sitting down tonight, and tell him, you know, not ask.
Andre, you know, we were joking last night a little bit about Jose chasing shoeless Joe Jackson and wondering if how many of the players on this team even know who shoeless Joe Jackson is. You know, you think about what you're just talking about with regards to Ramirez. I mean, that's the Wally Pipp thing that everybody talks about.
Right.
You know, and Jose, because, as you said, has had to fight for everything, he doesn't want to come out of the lineup because that's what motivates him. I don't want somebody taking my job.
Right.
Not that that's going to happen, but that's the thing that drives him every day.
It's his mindset. That's what got him here, and it's not going away anytime soon. And that's, you know what Eric Gonzalez tells me all over. He goes, I love the way he is because he never changes. He goes, he's the same kid when we were in the academy at 16, 17 years old. He goes, that fought everybody to get on the field, that fought for at-bats. Eric said that's the same guy that he still is. And when Eric hit that home run, who was the first guy to pick him up and start high-fiving him? Jose Ramirez.
3-2 pitch fouled back. Now it's fun to see, and Andre, you know, this team, we mentioned this I think on the last homestand, that, you know, it takes every team a little bit of time to find out who they are, find its identity, and I think we've started to see it. And it's not just because they've been winning lately. Obviously, winning cures a lot of things, no doubt about it. But we're starting to see this team, you know, grow together. You know, it is something as little as you reported earlier, the baseballs.
Right.
It's just kind of a goofy little thing, but they're having fun, and it's bringing guys together. I think Trevor Bauer told you that, didn't he?
Absolutely. That's the one thing he said, is that it kind of finds something for everybody. I'd like that he looked at it as the starting pitchers kind of said to themselves, you know, the bullpen guys have their own thing. We should start doing more stuff together. We need to be together more. The other word I would use is grit and energy. And, you know, Kipnis has said it to me a couple times. He says, when we come in this dugout in the first inning, he goes, we have to be into the game and push each other. Not that they weren't pushing each other beforehand, but they realized they needed more energy. And I think this road trip has shown that they've made a conceited effort to push themselves day in and day out when the game starts.
I want to see him bring that same energy home with them.
You're right.
Unpack it out of that suitcase and bring it down to Progressive Field, because they need to turn that energy around down there.
Tony, get those gray pants ready for tomorrow night.
Lonnie Chisenhall lifts one in the left field. Both Zimmer and Chisenhall pinch hitting here in the 8th, and there are 2 down. Well, and I think, you know, Kip told you the other night after the game when you interviewed him, he said, we've proved to ourselves this is how we have to play, and if we play like this, we are still a very good team, and we can win a lot of baseball games.
Andrew Miller said the same thing last night. He says, we think we're good. He goes, but we had to start playing.
Yeah.
He goes, the 25 guys in here, we think we're pretty good, but we weren't playing really good. And I think that was the message that Terry Francona got across to him. We put you together because we think you guys can win.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you're going to win. You got to go out and do it.
Well, they've been doing it. Winners of 7 of their last 8 overall. Chance to win 7 out of 8 on this road trip. And a win tonight would send them home 7 games over 500 for the first time this year. And I know you can never compare years because every year, as I said, every season is different, has a life of its own heartbeat. But it is sort of fun to look back. It was a year ago, roughly the same time, when that team took off. They had the 14-game win streak, and this team is, they don't have one of those kind of streaks going, but they're playing that kind of baseball. And the difference is, last year was the starting pitching that drove it. This year it's the offense that's really driving the bus.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how, but yes, they have to. It was June 17th last year is when it started. But you know, you find a way. If you get good pitching, you don't have to score as much, and when you have a rough start, you know you have to turn that offense on. Somebody has to step up.
Lindor rolls one to second. That'll end the inning. We'll move to the bottom of the 8th. Cleveland 5, Baltimore 2. Parker, 50 miles of Sandy Alomar when you bike the cure at Velasano. Visit velasano.org/Cleveland Indians for details on how you can team up with the tribe. Brian Shaw is the 5th Indians pitcher to work here tonight. As I mentioned before, pitching for the 3rd straight day. The good news is, last night he only had to face one hitter. The night before, he pitched 2/3 of an inning. Indians shifting the outfield around with Zimmer and Chisenhall both coming into the game now. So Jackson in left, Zimmer in center, Chisenhall in right. Trey Mancini leads off for Baltimore in the bottom of the 8th. And Brian Shaw misses outside ball 1. Two balls and a strike. Mancini had 3 hits last night. 5 hits in the series. All 5 have been singles. Nothing wrong with singles.
Not at all.
Coming in, the story surrounding Mancini was his extra base hit power. 12 home runs, 11 doubles. This guy really bursting onto the scene here for the O's.
You know, the O's as a team too. We mentioned it throughout this series that they're very good hitting team with runners in scoring position. They just haven't been able to set the table. They did early in the game tonight, and they couldn't take advantage of it.
It's 3 straight strikeouts. 4 out of the last 5 Oriole hitters have struck out in this game. Revisiting the storylines courtesy of Mazda. Jose Ramirez trying to equal shoeless Joe Jackson with 10 straight multi-hit games, but 0 for 3 tonight. And Mike Clevenger, as we mentioned, he gave up a leadoff homer to start the game. Really fought himself, trying to find his command. But he got through 5 with the lead. Now Wellington Castillo with a 1-out single. Brings up Hyun-Soo Kim. Down low. Left field. Austin Jackson puts it away, and there are 2 down. And now we'll get a pinch hitter, as Joey Rickard will bat for Ruben Tejada. With 2 down and a runner at first base. Rickard is 1 for 6 as a pinch hitter, overall hitting .245 this year. Up high. So far, I think the real story, the key, and it was one of our storylines at one point. Yeah, earlier tonight we were in Clevenger. Keep the birds in the park. In the game they won, they hit 3 home runs. In the other 3 games, they've hit 1 solo shot.
Yeah.
Line to Lindor. That'll end the inning. 8 in the books. 5-2 Cleveland. What are these suits that you speak of? Monkey suits? We're good at those. Paul Janisch has come in now at shortstop for Baltimore. Joey Rickard is in left. Gabriel Ynoa is still pitching. Jason Kipnis is just out in front of it. He's 1 for 4 tonight with a double. See Jason kind of nodding his head yet. Low heater.
Kip 1 for 4, doubled back in the 5th inning to lead it off, and he was stranded out there.
And he strikes him out with a good fastball. 1 away. Second strikeout for Gabriel Ynoa.
Well, we know Jose can't get the multi-hit streak going, but he can still get a base hit and keep his hitting streak alive.
Now Ramirez with a walk and a run scored tonight, and that walk was important. There was 2 outs, nobody on base. And I often joke the things we heard as kids still ring true even in the big leagues. Walks as good as a hit, and in that instance it was. Ramirez gets aboard, then Encarnacion singles, Santana walks, load the bases, Austin Jackson delivers a real backbreaker, a 2-out 2-run single, and the Indians have not trailed since. There's a high fly ball deep right down the line into the corner, and it's a fair ball off the wall. Ramirez will head to third base with a stand-up 1-out triple. Sarbaugh holds him there, wisely so. But Ramirez just missed hitting 1 out of here.
And gets his 2nd triple in the series. That ball hit the wood up there, right down near the foul pole. I know it was going to be, he tried to go fastball inside. And you can see it hits just high off the wall up there. And he was hustling all the way in case they didn't get to it. He was going to make them throw that ball in. So his hitting streak continues. 2nd triple of the night for the Indians. Austin Jackson had one back in the 2nd to drive in the 1st run. Well, there's another run out there for you if the Tribe wants to get him in.
Encarnacion off the end of the bat. It's going to drop for a base hit. Ramirez comes home, and the Indians increase their lead to 6-2. Edwin with RBI number 40. And the 2nd hit of the night. Listen to the crack.
Yeah, right off the end. Well, he knew it was going to drop. He didn't hit it very well. Ramirez just stays at third, but it bloops in. 2nd hit they've had like that tonight. So 6-2 Tribe now.
You know, the thing about Jose's triple, he hit one in the series opener on Monday. There's been 7 triples hit in this ballpark. The Indians have hit 3 of them. All in this series.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a 21-foot wall in right field. And it was hard to tell, but it looked like maybe on replay about halfway up. But it was such a high fly ball. It was coming straight down. A few more feet, he would have had a home run.
Yeah, could have had a home run, but you take the triple. He ended up scoring. He kept his hitting streak alive.
drive to center, but Gentry has plenty of room, making the catch for out number 2. Pat O'Brien, play of the game. Talked about it earlier. Austin Jackson's 2-out, 2-run single. Bases were loaded. And Wade Miley's thinking, if I can get out of this, this is a huge boost for me and my club. Instead, Jackson delivered a real crusher for Baltimore. Think about this too, Archie. In the 10-game hitting streak for Ramirez, Jose has 24 hits. Of those 24 hits, 10 doubles, 2 triples, and 3 home runs.
Right, I know it. I mean, he's up over the 320 mark now.
Jackson went too far. Indians had a great video I saw on Twitter earlier today. Lindor trying to do the Jose Ramirez strut.
Oh yeah,
it was funny, and Jose's trying to show
nobody can do that
you
strut.
do it like this, and they put music to it. It was great. That beer commercial might want to reconsider using Jose, the most interesting man in the world. Here's the 2-2 inside.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
Two down. Ramirez, or rather Encarnacion, off with a 3-2 pitch. Jackson strikes out to end the inning. Tribe tacks on an insurance run. Jose Ramirez with a triple. Encarnacion brings him home. Andrew Miller coming on now. It was a save situation, but that little insurance run removes that from the equation. But Andrew Miller could care less. I don't think I've met a guy who really seems less concerned about stats and numbers than him.
Well, it's a good thing. It's about wins and losses.
It really is.
Yeah, that's
both he and Cody Allen.
Right now,
he
he's
seems to have that approach that, hey, whatever, let's just get the win.
Right. I'll do what I have to do. Let's go. And I'm sure he's going to go out here and try and do it on minimal pitches.
Well, he only needed 22 to navigate his way through 2 innings last night, and the first of those 2 innings started with the bases loaded and nobody out. He came into that, he inherited that situation. He only needed 10 pitches to end that inning. Greg Gentry bunts, and it's going to go smart play.
You know, he really would have had to make the perfect play, and I don't know if he could have. And I think he realized it. Let's see if it goes foul, and it did. See, there's not much dirt on this line. It's got a good chance of staying on the grass. But once it trickled off, there it was, just a little bit in foul territory.
Missed outside. One-two pitch broke his bat. It sounded like, we'll see, maybe not. Had that sound like maybe he cracked it, but he did not. Well, we've seen a lot of Indians fans here this 4-game series.
Well, the Indians have had a tough time playing here in the last few years, but they fared much better this year.
Well, think about this. Coming into this series, they had lost 10 of their last 12 against Baltimore, period.
Right.
And as Tito told me before the opener, he said, man, we've had some just brutal losses in the last few years here. He said, you know, they're just those kind of losses, you know, last at bat, kick you in the stomach, beat you up kind of defeats. So to come out and win 12-0, 5-1. Andrew Miller with a rare free pass.
Well, for Gentry, give him credit, man. He laid off some very tough pitches that a lot of hitters swing at.
This was last night. He came in, bases loaded, nobody out, told his guys, let's get a ground ball. All right. That was out number 1. And that's out number 2. And that was overmatched. Out number 3. Caleb Joseph gets another crack at Andrew Miller. He was the guy you saw strike out
with the check swing.
With the check swing, right?
Well, that's the pitch that Gentry laid off. That was a good job to, you know, to lead off, get a man on base anytime you can.
Foul, and it's 0-2. Try to get him to swing at that back foot slider. Nothing doing. 1-2. Threw it by him. And that's what makes Andrew Miller so difficult for any hitter. You know, he's got these great sliders and he throws them, you know, off both sides of the plate. He tightens them up, spins them at different rates, but he's always got 95. Boom.
Yeah, you protect for that slider down and in, and by the time you see that fastball, it's by you, you know, and you just can't turn that dial up fast enough.
1 down for Manny Machado. He has walked twice and singled. If you missed it, tuned in late, Cody Allen not with the ball club, with his wife for the birth of their first child. So we wish Cody and Mallory best wishes. But he told Tito he's going to try to get back with the club as soon as possible. And a count 0-2 on Machado. Oh, that one went right back into Yan Gomes, but he says I'm all right.
3 straight sliders.
That's what I was going to ask you, Rick, when you know, Machado's seen Miller in the division when Miller was with the Yankees, so it's not like he's going up there guessing. He knows what he's probably going to see. And I know this is probably not a great comparison, but I'm thinking of great slider pitchers that you face, like Ron Guidry, left-handed, right?
Yeah, Sparky Lyle coming out of the bullpen, who was that's all he threw was sliders.
Seeing them more give you any better feeling as a hitter?
Well,
or did it matter?
If they hit their spots, and it doesn't matter. Yeah. You know, they make a mistake, you had to take advantage of it when you get an opportunity and don't foul it off. See, he's giving him up a little bit. He was trying to pull him earlier in the at-bat, and he was out in front. Now he's getting to 2 strikes, and it may be time to run one inside. Because he's shortening his swing a little bit for that breaking ball. So now it's time maybe to take him off of it, even if you just have to show him a fastball somewhere else.
There it was, and Machado lines it to right. Can't get it. Ronnie Chisnall gave it a great effort. Coming around third, they're going to wave him. Here's the throw. It's too high and not in time, and scoring all the way from first is Craig Gentry. And Andrew Miller has given up a run here in the ninth. And it's a 6-3 ball game.
Well, you see, he came with the fastball away, but he didn't miss it. Machado stayed on that ball, and I mean, he hit it hard. Line drive, right center field. Though he did take him off of that slider, Machado did a good job of hitting the fastball. He gets his second hit. Drives in his 37th run and makes it a 6-3 game.
And now Jonathan Scope. That slider, he swings over the top.
Keep in mind, Adam Jones hasn't played in this game. He was getting the night off, so if they can get the tying run to the plate, if they get another man to reach, he could be lurking down there in that dugout somewhere.
I think I see him down at the end of the dugout, but he's still got a warm-up top on. I don't know if he's just...
Is that him on the railing there?
I think so,
okay.
yeah,
that's him. Sure is.
It might just be one of those, hey, you're not playing, period, nights.
I wouldn't say that. Not yet.
The 0-2. High and foul. And out of play. Now the 0-2. Big foul again. Jonathan Scope, just one hit tonight, but he gives you a battle every time he steps in the box. Fastball right back, maybe for a little something extra. Overthrew it, and it's now 1-2. Miller's already made more pitches tonight than he did in the previous 2 innings last night with this pitch right here. readjust their laces. Swung out and missed. Hayes struck him out, and there are 2 down in the ninth.
Gets him to swing over the top of that back foot breaking ball. That one at 85, so he gets the second out. Both outs coming on strikeouts.
Tito and the Tribe 1 out away from capping an incredible road trip. I hope they do it soon. Here's a fastball in there for a strike. Mark Trumbo is 0 for 4, has struck out twice tonight. And the Indians have pitched him very tough in this series.
This has been one of the worst series I've seen Mark Trumbo have. It just looks like he's not picking up the baseball very well.
Foul back, 2 for 15. 7 strikeouts.
And they're down to their last strike.
Those who remain trying to urge on Trumbo. Indians fans are up behind the Tribe dugout, and the 0-2 on its way. Got a piece. Miller with that laser focus. Ready now with the 0-2. Just missed outside. A ball and 2 strikes. Twins were shut out at home earlier tonight. Now the 1-2. Swung on and missed. He struck him out to end the game. And the Indians take the series, winning 3 out of 4 in Baltimore. They go 7-1 on the road trip. Overall, they've won 8 of their last 9, and they'll go home a season best 7 games over 500 at 39-32. Capping just what has been an offensive explosion on this road trip. They have really found their stride offensively.
They did exactly what they had to do. I mean, when they left going into Minnesota for 4 games, you knew you were going to have Baltimore for 4, but they took care of business in Minnesota to go from 2 down to 2 up when we left Minnesota. And then they come in and you had Kluber going your first game here, and you have a 12-0 shutout. So the pitching put some zeros on the board. Carrasco pitched very well. Clevenger battled his way tonight, but they scored. They scored 5 every game here, and it's just it's got them rolling. Now they got to go home. You're going to get Minnesota again, so you can increase that. They lost today, so it's an excellent road trip.
Rick, what does it say about the pitching staff that is poorly overall as maybe things look tonight? Only give up 3 runs.
Yeah, I mean they hung in there. They bent, but they didn't break.
Yeah,
you know, and that's going to happen sometimes. And this ball.